Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Parents Engaging Parents, Beloved Community Check-In. My name is Erica Beverett, checking in from Camden, New Jersey. Today, we have our special guest, X Braithwaite, who's going to be joining us. She is the environmental organizer for Clean Water Action. And she's going to be discussing Beyond the Bars, water rights and environmental justice inside New Jersey prisons. So I think that it's very important. We have to think of other people and really be mindful of how we are being good humans or bring the light to the bad humans. And so what I am going to be doing next is I'm going to share with you our mission. PEP's mission is proactive advocacy based on the interest of parents and community leaders. I'm going to bring to the stage Arlene, and she's going to join us and tell us where she's checking in from.
Good evening, everyone. It's Arlene Ramsey here. I am checking in from Newark, New Jersey, civic engagement organizer for PEPNJ. I hope you all are warm and toasty on this rainy and cloudy evening. I think you're on mute, Erica. You're on mute.
I said, did you see me wrapped up just now? I was all wrapped up like in my sweater. Like, I just cannot get it together with this weather. This weather is like killing me.
Usually by now it's just warm and sunny and we're ready to go. So nature said we wait on it.
Sure did. So let's see if we have anybody checking in. Oh, I see Elise. Hey, Miss Elise. I see you on YouTube. Good evening. You're waiting. Oh, thank you for waiting. We appreciate you.
Hey, Elise.
All right. So we do have a couple of events that are coming up. So we're definitely going to share those. Our first item that we have to share right now is our Voices United barbecue and community fun in the park. It's going to be at Weekway Park on June 21st from 12 to 6. We're going to be having lots of fun, lots of music, dancing, food, raffles. We're having our pre-registration for backpacks and school supplies. And also, I think we're having a nice big one of those bouncy slides. I know the kids love that. Of course, this event is sponsored by Ports for People and Pacific Environment, Friends of the Earth, and we have so many other partners. Clean Water Action, you're there as well. Excited to have you all to engage us. We're going to be engaging in some community sessions as well because we have fun, but yeah, we're also going to be doing some learning and some engaging as well. So definitely scan the QR code. We will definitely drop in the chat, or actually in the comments, we're going to drop the link, and so that you could register for that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Summer camp, even though it doesn't feel like summer, it's going to be here soon. I'm just going to still hold on to my blankie, but we do have a Inspire Sports Camp. Our partnership with Inspire Sports Camp, we are sending a good 90 kids, and there might be some room that opens up. So definitely register for that. It's only $50 to register for term 3 or term 4. We'll be leaving out of Newark on July the 6th. That's a Friday, and it is until July the 11th. Or you can do term 4, which is on Sunday, July the 13th through Friday, July the 18th. And they're going to be over in Lebanon, PA. It's a sleepaway camp, and it's going to be loads of fun. So definitely register for that if you can. We do also have another great partner as well, POP, People Over Politics, who is sponsoring their bus out of Orange, New Jersey. So definitely head on over register and see if your kiddos are able to attend. It's going to be a nice getaway for them. They get fresh air, which is one of the things that we're definitely advocating for. And this is their opportunity to experience that.
And let me add on in regards to People Over Politics. For those of you who don't know, that is Weldon Montague. He is very well known. You can reach out to him if you would like him to sponsor a child, one of your children or a child that you know for summer camp.
For sure. Okay. Okay, Arlene, you can take it away with this one.
Yes. All right, guys. As you know, we are still campaigning for the Clean Ports for Newark's Future, where we're working on boosting green jobs, improving public health, and also putting a halt to fossil fuel expansion. We're still asking residents in the city of Newark, preferably the South Ward and the East Ward of Newark, also all of Newark, if you could please scan the QR code. Everything that we're working on in regards to this ordinance will be on the landing page. When you scroll down, you can also just sign the petition and send it away. This is extremely important. This is for our public health. We're looking to end fossil fuel and get cleaner air in our city of Newark, New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have to announce the EJ Ambassadors program. Arlene.
Yes, guys. Also, due to the fact that we're still campaigning for the Clean Ports for Newark's Future, we are looking for EJ ambassadors to join on to help us canvass this wonderful ordinance that will also contribute to your well-being. If so, just scan the QR code and sign up to be an EJ ambassador. Do know that there will be a stipend for a selected few who joins us in this wonderful mission. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to bring X to the stage.
Hey, X. Y'all. Hey.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Y'all got a bunch of cool events going on. I love that.
Thank
and I
you.
wanted to say, I definitely have my blanket as well. And the heat, the cool air, the turning off the AC, that's been happening all day. I thought April showers bring May flowers, and that was my mantra. Not. Now it doesn't, unfortunately. But I hope you guys are well.
Thank you.
Yeah. How are you?
I am good. Very excited to. Yes, climate change.
Yes,
climate change is a thing. Definitely affecting New Jersey a lot. Yeah, because we're right up the coast. We have industry over here, but that's why we do the good work of EJ to inform and fight back.
Absolutely.
Very excited.
That's for sure. So I know that you are working. So we're definitely excited for this topic. Yeah, climate change is wild. We don't want it.
Absolutely.
Boo.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to this turnover in the weather.
Yeah. Hopefully it breaks soon. We got those 2 good days. Let's make it 4. Let's make it 6.
Either that, or we're gonna have to just move to wherever it is.
Hey, right?
Florida, California, Houston.
Seeing where it's warm, I'm going there. I'm migrating.
Right.
Okay. So I'm super excited to be presenting again for y'all. Thank you guys so much for inviting me a couple weeks ago to talk about the tea on toxic beauty. But as an EJ organizer, we are all over the place. We're engaging different groups, different topics, etc. So I'm really excited to share another campaign I've been doing and working on, basically addressing the disproportionate rates of water issues in incarceration facilities. So that has been a big issue that's been consistently going on, not only within New Jersey, but within the US, really. And me and my community partner, who works for a criminal justice organization, we're just trying to raise awareness and make sure, our folks in Jersey are taken care of and not forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. No, we appreciate that work because, like I said earlier, we really have to be good humans. It doesn't matter, what what it is that people have done, but there's still humanity. You know what I mean? We have to think.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We should not devoid people of their dignity and their humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they're in there to serve a time. Let's make sure we uphold their dignity while doing so, because then if not, we would be compromising our integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Water, the right to clean air, these are basic rights, and people talk about being stewards of the earth a lot, but really when we get into who's affected, it's like being stewards of each other. Like, let's lift up those who are most vulnerable, because they deserve rights. They deserve, a chance at life too, and quality of life at that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And, I mean, that's one of the purposes for us being here, right? Oftentimes we think that we're just here to procreate, but when we look at what's needed to keep the world running and smoothly and balanced for everyone, it require for us to step in and be good, or let's say decent human beings to others as well, where we can.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the only way we can really survive, just lifting each other up, especially in these times when what clean water is scarce, weather is changing fast, etc. It really is about what we do here and now for each other. So definitely agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
So
if you
what
guys would like. Mhm.
Yeah, I wanted to ask before you get, I know you're getting started, but what exactly gave you the charge to, let's say, focus on those who are incarcerated?
Yeah, so the campaign began in its formal stage last August. We're coming up on a year, which is super exciting. We plan on doing a lot of stuff for that. But I say we because last April, I had a research student from Keene University reach out to me. She's now a graduate assistant at Keene, but she reached out because her undergrad capstone project focused on heat issues, water quality issues within New Jersey state prisons. And she's on the academic side of things. And she was really looking for a community partner that's engaged in environmental justice, already knows a little bit about the system, about the landscape, to really put our specialties together and try to advocate for change. So that community partner, you'll hear a little bit about her in the presentation. Her name is Sydney Bogan, and she has just been really great as a liaison, as somebody who is also impacted by the justice system. And that's just an issue I care about. I just got into EJ, about 2 years ago with this job, but my focus when I went to school for justice and policy studies was like the school to prison pipeline, how Black and brown children are, kind of pushed into the system, and then the system recreates cycles of poverty, recreates cycles of harm. So it always had I had a personal investment in it, and I was really grateful to be able to use my skills in EJ to create change in ways that I wasn't even aware about. So really, when she reached out to me, it was like kind of the first time of me hearing about the water quality issues. And then we were like, whoa, let's get people involved in this.
And the more I move around and collaborate with people in different spaces,
Mhm.
the more I learn that nothing we advocate for is isolated. So I say this to say, as you mentioned, the school to prison pipeline. I ran for the Newark Board of Education in 2019. I also published a book on giving resolve on school bullying in 2019, titled The Eclipse of School Torment, A Guide to End School Bullying. But my focus was targeting the school to prison pipeline by focusing on SEL, social emotional learning.
Right.
That if we, get more into finding better tools to provide for the kids and better help for the kids, that will kind of combat the school to prison pipeline. Right now, here it is that you're mentioning about the school to prison pipeline when it comes to environmental justice and clean water and things on that end. And it's, it never ceases to amaze me what we'll find in advocacy work.
Right, right.
Yeah,
It gets
yeah,
deep. It gets deep. There's so many intersecting, interlocking systems of oppression. Like you're absolutely right. SEL has to do with, where a child grows up at that. I'm also looking into and through a fellowship program with the Advocates of Children of New Jersey. I'm trying to create a policy that addresses place-based environmental racism. So like
mm,
how children their educational attainment is lowered just by the quality of where they live. Like if you have, air pollution, of course you're going to have asthma issues. One in
of
four kids
course.
have asthma, and then you're going to be missing school due to asthma related illnesses. You don't get the socialization, you don't get the education skills, and that, by definition, would lower the chances of educational attainment here. So
Absolutely.
really sad.
Abs-
It's so many systems affecting it. The social, it's a lot.
It is, meaning complex and nuanced.
Very
Yeah.
nuanced. Yeah.
I, I think, Erica, there's something in the chat. I think you mentioned something about the presentation. Um,
Oh, yeah, I can share my screen if that's okay with the
no,
presentation.
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we were just conversating. I'm gonna pull it up now, Erica. That's my cue. Okay. Awesome. So with that being said, I would like to introduce y'all to the water quality project and campaign I've been working on in collaboration with Women Who Never Give Up. I'm going to be explaining a little bit about their organization, but right now we're talking about water rights and environmental justice in New Jersey state prisons. What happens behind the bars, exudes from the quality of life that people have inside. Not only those incarcerated, but also the staff, the correctional officers, they're all being encapsulated in this environment. And what's more unfortunate is that those incarcerated can't leave this zone. So they're constantly being berated by water issues, air quality issues, and that's really what we want to shine a light on. So, for those who don't know, my name is X, or you can call me Simone Braithwaite, and I am the environmental justice organizer for Clean Water Action. I have a background in justice and policy studies, African and African American studies, and just volunteerism and service work in general. And at Clean Water Action, I focus on environmental justice, but we are a national nonprofit, and we are actually formed as a advocacy group trying to advocate for the Clean Water Act, which kind of guides all our water laws right now. And we do that through organizing, advocacy, and policy reform. And we really just want to fight for clean air, safe water, etc., and challenge those who are making it difficult for communities to literally live, thrive, and breathe. So, as an environmental justice organizer, I advocate and collaborate with overburdened communities like Newark, Jersey City, any place that really has high levels of pollution, and also help uplift their voice in the fight for clean air, just justice for their communities in general. And I'm personally affected because I am born and raised in Newark. I started organizing as a student in the Newark public school system and really carried that idea that justice is something that everybody deserves, like throughout. So I still live in Newark now. I live in the Ironbound section, which is one of the most polluted. We have about 4 power plants, I think, in a sewage facility. So it's something that I work for professional reasons, but obviously the personal is political is personal, and I do it because I love my community and communities like mine, and we deserve to thrive. And a little bit about Women Who Never Give Up. This is the group that reached out to me actually from the environmental justice standpoint. Women Who Never Give Up is a grassroots organization that was formed by Gail Muhammad. She has personal experiences of incarceration issues with her family, with her loved one, etc. And she's driven by the passion just for change in the New Jersey State Prison sector. It's not just water quality for them. This is kind of a newer and an arm that's being exposed now, but she's been doing really deep work since 2005 in the criminal justice system. And then we have my lovely research partner, Sydney Bogan, who is, like I said, a graduate assistant at Keene and an organizer for Women Who Never Give Up. So she's been doing the academic research, the helping with partnering and collaboration with other groups to really get this campaign off the ground. And when I say this campaign, I don't think I mentioned it before, but our campaign is called Safe Water, Safe Lives. We do have some links at the bottom of the presentation about it. But yes, Safe Water, Safe Lives, addressing water quality in New Jersey state prisons. So yeah, I don't want this to be too long. I would love for this to be, a conversation, a dialogue. So feel free to jump in with any questions or comments. I can't see the questions or comments, so Arlene or Erica, if you want to just flag that for me, or if y'all want to jump in, feel free. But what I really wanted to do is go over what environmental justice is, what the incarcerated population looks like in New Jersey, the health risks of what they're being exposed to, a little bit about our campaign. I am going to skip over the Toxic Free Prisons mapping tool just because we don't have that much time. But I'll briefly mention it. And then the call to action will be commenting on a Bill of Rights or a Declaration of Rights for incarcerated people within New Jersey. And then we'll have closing remarks. So as an environmental justice organizer, I basically deal with the impacts of pollution on communities that are usually marginalized. So if you think about poor communities, Black and brown communities, they're usually located right next to hazardous waste and other things that they don't benefit from, and in fact are harmed by. So all the industry in Newark creating air pollution, the diesel trucks creating higher incidence of cancers, the diesel trucks even creating, or the trucks in general, creating noise, right? I'd be lucky if I get like literally 30 seconds of no noise in the Ironbound. Yeah. Literally. Or if it's the middle of the night, I'll give it about 20 minutes. But during the day, I'll give it 30 seconds. That's a good day for me. So, and that's unfortunate because a lot of communities, and I'll show you this a little later, don't have to deal with these issues. And that's why it's called environmental justice, because we are disproportionately impacted by pollution. They put all, the industry here where we are often forgotten about, or our lives aren't cared for. And, neighborhoods that don't have to worry about this don't even have to think about it. So that's why it's a movement.
I agree. And I would like to say, which it's a catch-22, right? Mm-hmm. And this is not just Newark. If we look at Philly, Chicago, right, all the urban areas in every state have this issue.
Right.
But I would also like us to look at the fact that we are in the midst of a gold mine. Like where these urban cities are located itself is easy access to many of other cities and many of activities, many of things, right? So for those who live in, let's just say South Jersey, where you're going to Barnegat, Atlantic City, further down, they don't have easy access to get to the city. Now they have so much travel to do.
Yeah.
So I understand why this is going on in the urban area, but I don't give those who are in charge an excuse
Yeah.
because they understand that this is just is not healthy for our environment. And being that this, like I said again, these locations are the crux to so many things. The airport is 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
There's so many things, so much to list, right? So we don't have to list it. Um, the not having the consideration for the people that live in these areas because we are minorities, so they say, or black and brown people, is definitely something that we should look into because had these locations, these environmental justice issues, you located down in South Jersey, they would protest and they would make sure, right,
Mhm.
that this was taken care of. Whether the station stays there or not,
Right.
they would definitely do something about it to make sure that it is not harmful to the
Yeah.
communities out in those areas. And so it's important to recognize that as well because we have easy access to so much. However, we should not have to suffer for it. Have some consideration for the people who live here, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's why, the New Jersey, I put this definition from the NJDEP. The point is that all residents, honestly, of any state have the right to live, work and recreate in a clean environment. And when all
Absolutely.
this industry, is located next to us, that hasn't even been thought of putting other places. We have one of the largest sewer systems right here in the Ironbound that takes sewage from 13 counties within New Jersey, that takes sewage from New York and Pennsylvania. Like there's no buffer between our communities and the industries that the the state and tri-state area depends on, and that's not fair, and that's not something that would happen. You're right, if we were located in higher income communities or communities that have I guess different demographics that aren't primarily minorities. So yeah, and so the DEP found, and this is what I'm going to talk about a little next slide, that historically low income communities have had a disproportionately high number of environmental and public health stressors, and that increases the health risks in these communities. So because of that, New Jersey has chosen to pursue one of the actually strongest environmental laws in the country to prevent and correct this in the future. And that is the environmental justice law. And Eileen, I just wanted to pull up a map, a physical map of what this looks like when we talk about environmental justice. So we can see that this map, it represents certain stressors. So there are 25 stressors the DEP uses to determine if like a community is overburdened, and that could look like air pollution, it could look like lead risk, cancer risk, all of that. And if you have, 21, 22 or higher, you're in dark blue. If you have the least, you're in basically like yellow green. And you can see that where the urban populations are, North Jersey, Jersey City, those are very polluted. Where the South Jersey population is affected, right next to Philly, Camden, etc. So it is concentrated, and they kind of just put industry in our areas just because they can. And what I filtered for specifically when I was searching this map, because it's an actual interactive tool you can use, is cancer risk from diesel. Like I said, the trucks on the street, cancer risk from air toxics, heavy duty truck traffic, which leads to a whole amount of problems. All of these really lead to dangerous health conditions, heart disease, lung disease, and not just very very serious things, but things that can just affect your health in general. Like, I don't know if y'all remember, but I think 2 summers ago there was like pink smoke coming from a facility in Newark, and
Yeah.
kids had to wear masks. Yeah, they canceled school. So
Yep.
yeah, so
Yep.
these are things, even if you don't have huge health effects, there are things that they can affect you basically at any given moment if you live right next to it. So,
Right.
mhm,
And then what about things such as what you mentioned on the last time you were on the show, forever chemicals that cannot be seen or detected, but we're still, affected by it. And that got me to thinking that, okay, forever chemicals is one thing, which you've mentioned, but what if, there's other chemicals that's similar to that, that is not listed under the forever chemicals that are, that we get affected by that we cannot see or detect
yeah,
because of,
that's
you
right.
know,
That's such a good point. And honestly, you're not wrong. That happened. That's actively happening because we have people on our side, organizers on our side, advocating for better health conditions. But you got to remember, people put this up because they're billion-dollar, million-dollar industries. So when we talk about PFAS or forever chemicals, like, there have been laws that have been trying to regulate it, but PFAS are kind of so tricky to regulate because, like I said last time, there are like at least 2 different types that I showed you guys. So they can ban one form of PFAS, but then the other form, it kind of just slips under the radar and they keep using it, even though it's dangerous too. And then, since PFAS are in everything, there are just places that just have a lot of them, like in general, inherently. So, for example, like laundry sites. Laundry sites have a lot of bad chemicals. Those
mhm,
laundromats, once they get knocked down, once they get, closed for business, you can't use that land because the soil is contaminated. And
what,
it takes, yeah, yeah,
oh,
it takes,
because of the chemicals like the detergent and things like
yeah,
that?
yeah, it seeps into the ground, and it essentially becomes unusable. So they're either empty lots, and the same concept as like gas stations. If you ever saw a gas station close down, it
Mhm.
stayed like that for 10 years until somebody chooses to remediate it, which is the only way to make the ground in that plot of land usable again. So these chemicals are everywhere, and they're just constantly changing form. And what is sad about it is, as you can see, a lot of this is not reversible. Like, once it happens, your community is stuck with the impacts of that. So, yeah, and that's why New Jersey has chosen to address this issue. We actually passed, like I said, the strongest environmental justice law in the country in 2020, and it's called the Environmental Justice Law, or EJ Law. And basically, it gives our Department of Environmental Protection the right to evaluate and issue denials for new facilities, so they are not able to build in places like Newark and Jersey City, etc., because they've seen the impacts of that. So, these are a little bit of statistics from Newark. Asthma is actually the city's biggest crime because statistically, more people die of asthma than homicides. And
Wow.
then school age children in Newark, so kids in Newark, have double the rate of asthma, double the national rate. So 1 in 4 kids have asthma, whereas in Livingston, New Jersey, right across the way, 1 in
Mhm.
12 have asthma. So you see that drastic difference.
Right.
We are also home to the largest trash incinerator in the Northeast.
Mhm.
And from all the trucks coming out of the incinerators, the industry, we have the second greatest cancer risk from diesel emissions and pollution. And
Mm.
that's just
I
in
just
Newark.
want to, if I could just jump on in, I'm going to ask everybody if you could just definitely like, comment, and share, and definitely thank you all for your support. Of course, Sports for People, Pacific Environment, we appreciate you all, and of course, Clean Water Action.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so that is environmental justice as a general overview. And
Mhm.
now I wanted to get into the specifics of how incarcerated people are affected. So the problem is a lot of facilities, prisons are located next to contaminated sites, sites of known pollution. So the water, the soil is already contaminated, and they essentially become places or next to places of environmental degradation. So there are a
Like
couple
you
factors.
just
Yeah, say it again.
we discussed the last time you were on when we talked about Delaney Hall, and as you know, the Green Monster or Essex County, the jail, it's right down the street
Exactly. Right.
from
Less
Delaney
than a
Hall.
10-minute walk, maybe a five
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
So exactly. So we are right next to contaminated sites. You can see that
Mhm,
right in the Ironbound. I have been
mhm,
to the Delaney Hall protests. People
mhm.
wore masks. I couldn't understand why. Well, when I was sitting in my car, but when I got out, I understood it, Arlene, because remember we talked about how the facility right next door burns animal carcasses to make fragrance.
Yeah.
And it's just one example, but this is happening, like was said, all over the U.S. And that's why we have groups like the Toxic Free Prisons Project working on this. They made a toxic free prison mapping tool, which is similar
Mhm.
to the EJ tool I just showed. And yeah, so another thing that's affecting them is poor air quality, so ventilation issues, and then extreme heat. Extreme heat is a big factor because
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, like, and just thinking about how many people are housed or incarcerated, I should say, and they're on top of each other like that, and to know that the air quality is no good, like, and there's no ventilation, that's just disheartening.
Right, very
And then and then I wonder if that has something to do with their irritation while, I mean, they're already going to be
for
irritable
sure.
while they're in there, but I wonder if it, does something to them chemically
Yeah,
where
yeah.
Yeah,
they
Mhm.
I
There's
would
so
definitely say that as well. Like, go ahead and I know that you're gonna bring the
oh,
the,
no,
the
you do.
expertise part of it,
You
but
do. No, I was just gonna say there's so many like roots to exposure that it's just going to affect how a person behaves. Like lead in water, for example, leads to more aggression.
mm,
You're drinking lead water and you're hot?
yeah.
right, and you're not getting enough oxygen to your brain at that point, right? So
Exactly.
like you're laboring to breathe, and
Yeah,
you're not getting sufficient oxygen.
exactly. And just horrible conditions. So
Someone mentioned bunkering station across the street from the jail in Newark, New Jersey. Is that the same location, or is this the bunkering station another location that could be pollution?
the bunkering station
Bunkering station across the street. Maybe
across the street from Delaney Hall.
from the jail. He said the jail.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure.
Okay,
They call that part of the Ironbound Chemical Corridor because essentially, except for the jail and Delaney Hall, all of that is industry that's making pollution. So
Mm.
got it.
that's literally just lined with chemicals and trucks that are creating this. So yeah, yeah, very good point. I wanted to ask y'all folks, how many contaminated sites, so we just talked about the impact of it, but how many contaminated sites do you think that are in New Jersey, are in the state?
In New
This
Jersey,
year,
that's a good
15
question. Hmm. How many contaminant sites?
I'm gonna go with the 15,142.
Okay, okay, we got an
Go with the
answer
highest
here.
number.
Um,
Higher, higher. Oh, no.
You know what? There's only two other choices. Let me go with the one below, the 13,437.
Okay, okay, so let's take a look. Oh, where is it? Hold on. It is 13,000. Erica, it might be 15,000 because honestly, the DP has to go out and evaluate it first, but these are the known contaminated sites. So it might be higher than this. But
Wow.
what is known in New Jersey is there are 13,437. Oh, don't read the rest. Don't read the rest. Because I have another question. So given that, and I told y'all, there are a lot of them next to New Jersey state prisons.
Mhm.
Roughly, what fraction of New Jersey correctional facilities are located on or within 1 mile of a contaminated site? So, what do y'all
I'm
think?
going to say 3 because Northern State
Mm-hmm.
is near the vicinity, maybe 2 miles from, maybe, and then Delaney Hall and Essex County Correctional Facility in Newark.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, folks. It is 1 and 3. One third. Yeah, 1/3 of all the prisons in New Jersey are either located on or within a mile of these contaminated sites. And that, those who are incarcerated are uniquely vulnerable because they can't relocate. They can't go anywhere else. So for the length of their, the length that they're serving in there, they have to endure those conditions. And we actually found some statistics that say, like, on national average, 1 year in jail takes 2 years off of your life expectancy. And that's partially due to the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I wanted to look into New Jersey a bit more. Our incarceration population is not proportionate to the demographics of New Jersey. So 61% of the incarcerated population are African American, 22% are white, and 17% are Hispanic, even though we have a very low portion, or I guess relatively low portion of African American people. It's still almost over half the population, which is the problem. Yeah, and also another thing is when you look at those zones of blue where we see the highest rates of public health stressors, right? A lot of those people who are incarcerated already come from those communities
Mhm.
that
Right.
have 1 in 4 asthma, cancer risk, etc. So, yeah, that's a look into who is being impacted and who even has a greater risk of being impacted. And we work with a lot of returning citizens groups, and we've heard that people go in to the jails or prisons healthy and then come out sick, and
Mm.
that's not an accident. That's not a coincidence.
Yeah, it's not happenstance. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those facilities are very old, so
Yeah.
those pipes, I'm sure, are made with lead.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
the violations that they've gotten for not replacing their lead service lines or not giving updated reports. So they know this stuff is going on, and the DP does too. It's just nothing is being done about it. Like, literally, they get fines, every time their evaluation comes up, but they still don't change the conditions.
Mm.
Right. And and to tell you the power of communities that let's say have higher tax brackets, right? The
Hmm.
Essex County jail was once in Caldwell. The one
Really?
my uncle worked for there when I was a younger. He used to go to Caldwell, and they voted that place out, and so they built it up over here where Delaney Hall is, and so he ended up coming to work down there, but
That's interesting.
they voted that they did not want it in their community, and
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the power of other communities, and I say this to say that community voices do work,
Yeah. Yeah.
that in our communities, we don't think that we have the power to do it, but we
Mhm.
do have the power to advocate and have some things change for us.
We really do. We really do. Like, people power, when we have enough of us, those who are passionate, engaged, care about the issue, or even just want to see better and can't be directly involved. So, like, signing petitions, doing other things, that raises awareness, and it also helps legislators know that we take our communities seriously, so they should take them seriously as well. So
Lobbying. Mm-hmm.
lobbying, etc. So I don't wanna breeze through this, but I know this ends at 7:30 and I have some actions for y'all to take after.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna flip through some of the slides. So again, New Jersey prisons, they can get up to 94 degrees in the summer, where it's only legally allowed to be like 70, 75. And people who are incarcerated have described it as unbearable or like hell. And that I'm sure is very accurate, and these pictures aren't from that long ago. So yeah, the ombudsman office put out a report. They found that meals are served without drinks, there were rodents, no enforceable environmental safeguards. So these are really the conditions that people have to live with every single day. And I will say also, the problem is that they have very little access to clean water outside of like the pipes. They're only allowed 2 cases of water a month, which is less than 2 bottles a day. And that's if they didn't run out of it on commissary. And it's also if they can even afford water in the first place. Where are they getting the money from? Right. So
Mm-hmm.
water, it should be a basic right. It is a basic right. And these people just aren't getting the services and justice they need. So with
But they can afford it because I think some of these prisons get paid per day per head.
Oh yeah, the facilities themselves can definitely afford it. I'm talking about just the people. I don't
Okay.
like I can't tell you why they would ever run out of cases of water or even limit it or make those incarcerated pay for it. It's just it all doesn't make sense to me, but the criminal justice system in so many ways doesn't make sense to me. So
Um, Lavette Howard did say it causes a chemical imbalance in the brain. That's
yes.
what I was trying to say when I
Yeah.
asked. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
interesting.
Yes.
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so what is supposed to be actually like setting limits on certain bacterias and stuff in the water is the Safe Drinking Water Act, and it basically sets water quality standards, requires that water systems test and monitor their water. A lot of these jails are on public water systems, so they should be doing it anyway, but they don't. And there should be like enforcement mechanisms like fines or corrective actions, but usually and what we've seen are just the fines and no actions behind fixing the issue. So this is an example of a report on water quality conditions. They found E. coli in the water, high levels of PFAS in the water, and just a lot of violations for not submitting the confidence reports that they need to the public. So they've even found like known carcinogens in the water as well.
Now, see, when we discussed water the last time you were here, it baffles me because who's testing the water? Like I said again, I worked for a short while in West Milford, New Jersey,
Mm.
for a water testing company. It's black owned, and he employed a few of us. And
Oh,
we would go out there and test their water. Each of us, so it was three of us that had our own sites. So we had about 5 or 6 sites a day. And this is every day, 5 days a week, where you had to test each location. And a location is responsible for, let's say, a demographic of the place, of the city. And so it just baffles me when we hear things about the quality of water. And I say to myself, well, who's testing the water and who's upkeeping the standards of the water? Because I don't think that's a hard thing to do.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. A lot of this is just regulated. Like I didn't even know there were separate companies that do this. A lot of it is done by the DEP itself, and there's really no budget in a lot of these prisons for water quality maintenance. They just do it when they can. They just kind of implement, it's probably in the general budget, but there's no dedicated budget to fixing service lines, to getting contaminants out of water, and
What?
and
Mhm.
Which will make me say, right? based off of my experience, location, they tell you which locations affect which area. So they'll say this location actually takes care of the water for this area. This location takes care of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Then
exactly.
that means that the location that is responsible for the area where the jail is, that they're just overlooking it. No one is
Exactly.
regulating that site. No one is making sure they're testing for contaminants and
Hmm.
those types of things for that respective site. And
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
Yeah, and that's so right, and that's what's so like backwards about it, because three of the active like prisons are on community water systems. They have to regulate it anyway. They're
Anyway,
in townships, but the way the water gets to them, the lines being not replaced, the buildings being old, like you said,
Mhm.
Erica, those are all factors that just don't get addressed, even if they're on public systems. Which is why, it's a double injustice, because you're doing this for everybody else, but then this facility, like, you just don't care, basically, because we're seeing these violations go back, even from like the 90s, literally.
right.
So very disheartening. But yeah, long-term exposure and health risks.
Wait,
One.
let me just say one thing. Someone says in this country, incarceration functions as a form of modern day slavery, with the 13th Amendment allowing it by providing little to no legal protections for those imprisoned.
And
Yeah,
that's coming from Mr. Frazier.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sad because a lot of this stuff is just based on that. It's based on the 13th Amendment, and that these people are assumed to have no rights. And, that's why we got to lock arms with our criminal justice folk, our EJ folk, our public health folk, because, it's not fair, and it's not what's productive to society. Like, a lot of this stuff just brings more issues than fixes anything.
Mhm.
And
So,
then, and another thing I wanted to bring up, since we're, Black and brown people are highly incarcerated, remember, I can't remember the year, right? But remember, we are listed as three-fifths of a clause.
mhm,
And I question, has that been updated in
yeah.
Congress? You know what I mean? Because if it's not updated to where it needs to be, then that will also explain why there's certain treatment and certain things that is happening in areas where we predominantly reside.
Mm.
Mhm.
If
No, it's
we're,
by design. It's
yeah,
by design. That's
three-fifths of a clause. Yeah.
No, no. These injustices and these practices that our government has is just by design. They want us to have cancer. They want us to suffer. They want us to be sick. They want us to be uncomfortable. It's by design, and there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that can be like a really depressing like fact about our society right now, But people are doing good things in terms of getting it changed. We've seen a lot of good things come out of like California, Minnesota, Minneapolis about like addressing water quality issues, and we even have an Environmental Health in Prisons Act like introduced by Congress last year.
Right.
So we are working on it, but it's just so many years and years of like harm that has to be addressed, and those who already went through it, and those are who are facing the impacts now, and those who are already incarcerated. So it's just so many layers.
And then also those that are, descendants of, we have to think
Exactly.
about it in terms of that as well. Like it becomes embedded in our DNA, the sicknesses that are just passed on from generation to generation. So, yeah,
Yeah.
our country has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, no, that's a
Yes.
great point. That's a great point. A lot of this just changes like your
It
lineage.
rewires. Yes,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
yeah, an example of long-term exposure would be in Garden State Correctional Facility. They had a lot of violations for exceeding manganese, which causes the water to be a different color, staining of the water. So it stains things, literally the water that you're trying to drink, and it has a metallic taste. But that's just on the surface level. The health risks of manganese are neurological problems if it's too much, memory loss, difficulty with movement, and changes in behavior. So think about how, the people in Garden State were feeling at that time when it exceeded the levels. It affected all this. And those are irreversible changes.
Mm.
So, with that, my friends, I would like to close on a more hopeful note, a more community-focused note, because we wanted to leave with this quote: "Prisons often fall outside the scope of more recent federal environmental justice frameworks, and that leaves incarcerated individuals uniquely vulnerable. So they often fall outside our scope of justice. They're often forgotten about, not cared about." But what we really want to do and follow in the footsteps of other carceral justice groups is bring awareness and bring justice to this demographic. So we've been engaging, Sydney and I have been engaging with PAR, or what is called participatory action research, where we basically combine the data that we find and then the stories that we hear from folks to kind of shape policy and shape how we want to see New Jersey address these issues. And first, we want to just push for the inclusion of prisons in EJ frameworks. So there should be an EJ law addressing it. We should be something that doesn't just footnote and put together all communities, but is like, no, in prisons, they are facing it the hardest. And then also advocate for greater transparency and accountability. So we have a petition that demands for a secondary source of water, be it like free water bottles, be it a filter coming in, something that they can actually drink from. Also, like an assessment of the prison water systems, a dedicated budget for maintenance. Like we said, they do not have that. And advocating for a free annual health screenings and checkups as a form of preventative health measures. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of storytelling. This on the side is Sydney, I, and Philip Dixon. Philip Dixon was a person who was incarcerated at Trenton State Prison for over 37 years. And that's Trenton State in the background because we did an NJ.com article on it. So that article just got published, I think, early May, and y'all can look it up if you'd like. We are not necessarily sharing it ourselves because there are some language issues, so we just don't prefer to like put out that version. But if y'all want to look it up, you can. It's just called NJ Incarceration Facilities Water Quality. You can probably look up. But these are comments that we've gotten from people that we feel like is important to uplift. So a grandmother, right? She says her grandson is incarcerated at the youth facility and she buys water bottles, but he still feels sick and he still vomits, etc. Her son has been dealing with the issues for over 3 years. Like sometimes the water isn't even working on the inside, so they have to get bathroom outside. Like those are not livable conditions. So what we really want to uplift is people telling their own stories, humanizing people and their experiences over data and reports, because data and reports don't tell you how they live on a daily basis. And also just providing a space where it's important to tell these stories, because a lot of people don't even have a space to talk about how, the water quality affected them. We had a webinar, one of our first ones, where there was a manganese outbreak or like a water quality outbreak, and the what they did was put out a boil notice. You have to boil the water, but there was nothing to boil the water. So some people like had to microwave the water if they were lucky enough to work in the kitchen, right? So we see water boil notice, but what does that look like to people who are experiencing it?
Right.
As well as the people that are working there. Let's not forget the correction officers that are there and all the administrative.
Exactly. The staff too, everybody.
Yes.
So so we've been trying to engage the community so far. We are focusing on places that have like connections and already like positive rapport with criminal justice and justice system. We partnered with Council President Waterman from Jersey City to have a screening of what these walls won't hold, basically about the conditions inside California state prisons during COVID, because we couldn't find any films or documentaries like closer to us or in New Jersey. Like we said, featured on NJ.com. We've been in conversations with organizations like the New Jersey Lead Free Program, ACLU in New Jersey, Returning Citizens Group, Toxic Free Prisons, and even the DOC or Governor's Office to try to address this. But it's just, me and Sydney at the helm on this thing, and we need y'all's help, please.
Yes. So
Yeah.
tell the community how they
Yeah.
can chip in and help.
Yes. So what we want to basically do is build a road to the Environmental Health in Prisons Act, and that's giving a voice to giving people a voice in this as much as possible, telling people that this is an issue, telling legislators this is an issue we care about and that we want to address it. And we're doing that through a couple ways. We are recreating a Declaration of Rights for incarcerated people. It has been adopted from Congresswoman Presley's team, who basically said a lot won't happen on the federal level right now, and states should lead by example, essentially. So we adopted that. We added the information we found from Jersey. And with that, we wanted to go ahead and create a Declaration of Rights that people can comment on. So you can click, or you can, I actually sent y'all a couple links. If y'all can put those in the chat, please, through email. But these are some QR codes you can scan. You can take a screenshot of this page, etc. We have a petition going on for everything we told you about the campaign goals. This is our main landing page where you can read blog posts about what we found. And this is what we'd like people to really comment on, look through. And there's even like a Google form that you can submit your comments through. The New Jersey.
Al-Therese asked, who is Congresswoman Presley?
Yeah, Congresswoman Presley is a congresswoman out of Massachusetts. She is a Democratic congresswoman, and she works on prison justice issues, very involved in social justice. So it was her and Senator Markey. I don't know where he's from, but also Cory Booker signed on to the bill as well. So it was kind of a collaborative effort, but she kind of led the charge on that. And we love giving credit to Black women. So yeah, these are the different types of actions you can take. There is my email and Sydney's email at the top. Feel free to reach out to us if you want to stay connected and involved. And with that, I will stop yapping my mouth. It was so nice to present to y'all.
No, this is great.
It's another wonderful, excellent initiative that I'm definitely going to support you and your partners on once again. And thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we need, we need parents in this fight. We just need so many, voices that have different perspectives on this. You don't have to be directly involved to care about the issue. And because like you said, like it's a human right to have, not have air quality problems, not have heat problems, 94 degrees and you're inside and then on top of the water. So I suggest if you guys have some time reading the Environmental Health in Prisons Act, it's really good. And in that they have a Declaration of Rights. So that's where we started before we went to a whole act. We want to see if we can pass that declaration in different municipalities. So presenting to Newark City Council, presenting to Jersey City City Council. And when that does happen, we would love to call on volunteers to just like give comments on the resolutions as well. So that is coming up.
Yes. Well, thank you, X. Definitely. Let us know when, and we will make it our business to support you in everything that you're doing. We love you over here at PEP.
Love y'all. Love y'all. But yeah, feel free. These are my two main campaigns right now: Safe Water, Safe Lives. we're definitely trying to go to Jersey City first because we have a lot of connections there. So this presentation I did last week in collaboration with Councilman Gilmore from Ward F. But we are trying to really bring it to Newark, Camden, the cities that are affected the most, so.
Yes. And
Did you send the link to our email in regards to this?
Yeah,
yes, everything is there. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, but do you want me to put it in the chat? Because I have the email pulled up.
It's actually, we have it here in the comments. So it's
Okay.
really
It
out
is in the
there
comments?
on YouTube. It's out
Okay.
there on LinkedIn. So we
Awesome.
definitely have access there.
Yay. Okay. Well, that is all the information I have for y'all tonight. I hope it wasn't too long-winded.
No.
But
Oh,
yeah,
this is fantastic. Because so many times we forget that there are people. There are people that are beyond those walls, like that movie or documentary says. So, no, thank you for bringing this to the forefront, and thank you for the fight that the good fight that you're fighting right now, and we're definitely on your side.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you let the people know how can they join Women Who Never Give Up? The-
So you would have to, if you want to get involved with that group specifically, you would have to reach out to Sydney because we are like taking volunteers, but she's more on the Women Who Never Give Up side. I'm kind of just like supporting the organization. So, but they're holding events and stuff as well.
Okay.
I think that's one Google away.
Yeah. Next time, if y'all have us back in a couple months, I can bring in Sydney. Hopefully, we can have more updates on this. We want to get stuff,
Yes.
jumping off in the summer.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from Gilmore and his real life experiences as well, just like Mr. Frazier had.
Absolutely. And you know what? Let's collaborate on an endeavor in regards to your campaigns as well. So, I'm gonna reach back out to you.
I would love to.
Yeah,
Parents for Clean Water.
absolutely. See, you're quick. She already has it.
Like, I love y'all so much.
And we love you back.
All right, X, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you. Have a great evening.
Awesome.
And
Take care.
all right. And of course, definitely, if you can register for our upcoming events, we're going to be sending that out to the world, no, to the masses. Definitely sharing it here at the Beloved Community Check-in. Definitely tune in next week. We're sure to have another guest. It's going to be a surprise.
Absolutely. Until then, good night, all.
All right. Thank you. And of course, once again, thank you for your support, Pacific Environment and Ports for People.